Well, hey! How are we doing? How are we doing? Oh, I was a bit tired this morning after this weekend. I did 30 miles of walking this weekend, which was pretty cool, across 2 days, just for the hell of it, because I had some free days. I walked to Trowbridge yesterday, just for something to do, and then got the train back. Fantastic. Absolutely love stuff like that. Anyway, what's that got to do with anything? Well, the next challenge is on. And I've already got two guys, I'm going to say 2 guys on it with me. Okay, and three guys, because Ant said he'd do it as well, but we'll see. Anyway, so, Ant said he'd do this, another guy said he'd do it, well, Paul said he'd do it, and then, and Russ said he might. But we'll see. I'm going to do it anyway. What is it? Well, the Cotswolds Way ends in Bath, right? And I've done it before, across like 6 days or something like that. Yeah, and it'll be great, mate. So, what we're going to do is get the first train out of Bath on the 19th of August. Get the first train out of Bath to Cheltenham, and then walk back via the Cotswolds Way. 60 miles? 100 kilometres, about 100 kilometres. So we're going to try and do that in 24 hours. So whatever time the train gets there, I don't know, like 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock or something like that. And then we're just going to get there and just walk back. Take a bag with water, sandwiches, first aid kit, some spare socks and a rainproof jacket or something like that, and some sandwiches and that, and just walk. That's a challenge, isn't it? And here's a lesson for you. Never agree or never talk about things like this in the pub. That will be at the end, and I won't be drinking cider because it makes me projectile vomit, and you don't want to see that. But I'll be drinking beer at the end of it. The thing is, though, the way it'll work, we'll probably finish at 4 or 5 in the morning or something, so it'll be home, bed, few hours, and then meet at the pub. That's the way it's going to go. Anyway, that's the challenge. And what it's going to do, it's going to prove to me that I can do it, right? I've gone blurred. What happened there? It's going to prove to me that I can do it. Mark Furnival's on. How are you doing? You're invited too. I put it in the group last night if you want to do it. It's up to you. But, you know, if you don't, that's also cool. But what I'm going to prove to myself that I can do it, because I think the furthest I've ever walked like 25 miles or something. And I was knackered at the end of that, so this is like, right, I'm gonna fucking do it. And I'm also gonna prove, so I posted into the Bath Kettlebell Society members thing last night saying, right, I'm going to be doing this. If you want to, I didn't say to people you have to or whatever. I just said, look, here's what I'm doing. Kind of like what I do with this. Here's what I'm doing, right? Like what we'll do with BKS in the park and stuff like that. I'm not saying like you have to come along and and all this. I'm saying here's what we're doing. Here's what I'm doing, and here's what the guys are getting from it, and here's what they're doing. Do you want in? Do you want to come along? Do you want to see how it works? Right? Which is what downloading the program below is all about, because that's where I started. That's where I start the guys from. They come along and then they make massive progress. Now, we've already seen all of the progress that they do make on the videos and live videos on here. I posted one this morning of them doing some stuff. Claire's been a fucking great example today. Just in general. But she started on the May Swing Challenge on the 1st of May. So, almost 2 months ago. She came onto the May 2-week trial, which was about 7 weeks ago. She said this 7 weeks ago, I think it was. I can't remember, but she's obviously tracking this. So she came onto the May 2-week challenge, and she couldn't do a squat. So it was kind of like, just sit down on that, like there's a bench in the park, sit down on the bench in a squat fashion, not just like that, because anyone can do that. Sit down on it in a squat fashion, and then stand back up again. And she really struggled with that. And then the next day she said her legs were burning and sore and all that sort of stuff. So we did a lot. I gave her some super simple, the simplest mobility homework to do, which takes 5 minutes. She was doing it and our kids were doing it as well. 7 weeks later, today she turned up for a session. We've been doing all of this stuff, and I just said, show us a squat. We haven't done squats the whole time, but everything else we have been doing has improved her squat. So I was like, show us a squat. She did a perfect squat. And she was surprised. She was like, well, I couldn't do that a while ago, and I didn't even know I could do it. And it's like, yeah, that's because this stuff works. So that's what I'm doing. I'm proving this stuff works. Okay. So I think it was about 10 years ago. Probably about 10 years ago. Yeah, it must have been in July or August, or possibly even September coming up. In fact, I worked it out today. I was talking to Claire about this. It was 10 years ago that I last had a McDonald's, by the way. I know this because I moved to Bath in July 2007, and I had a McDonald's breakfast, because every time I moved house, I was like, you got to get up and have a McDonald's breakfast, and then you move house and all that. I haven't been to McDonald's since then. 10 years. 10 years. That's a long time, isn't it? I like that. I'm proud of that. Anyway, I think it was the August or September, about 10 years ago, and I did a walk. I did two days, 20 miles each day, and then that ended in Windsor, I think, and I got the train home, and I was screwed. I was a mess. I was an absolute mess. I was 10 years younger than I am now, and I was an absolute mess. My hips were knackered. My knees were sore. I was limping and hobbling for 2 days, 2 or 3 days afterwards. I was really sore. And like I said, this weekend I did 30 miles. I did 16 and a half miles on Saturday, and then 13 and a half miles yesterday. And I felt, it felt absolutely fine. I could have done more. I could have easily done more. Easily. And that's because of the stuff I've been doing, which, like I said, if you download this program, that's where I started. This sort of stuff that I've been doing, the mobility stuff, the stuff that I do with the guys in the park, the stuff that got Claire to do a perfect squat today when she didn't even know she could do it. She couldn't do it 7 weeks ago. All of this stuff makes you move better. So it's not about getting a six-pack. It's not about how much weight you can lift. I was saying that to Claire today as well. It's not about how much weight you can lift. And she gets that. She was like, no, it's not. It's about getting the movement right. However, so I gave her a 10 kilo weight and just said, do a goblet squat with that. She squatted down with 10 kilos and back up. She couldn't even do a body weight 7 weeks ago. Now she's doing it. And with a 10 kilo, it was super easy. So it's not about the weight, it's about the movement. And that's what I'm trying to do. And then this will stop her getting sore hips in the future. And I know that because I've seen it happen to people. So this challenge is on. Like I say, I think hopefully at least one guy will do it, definitely. I think three of them are going to do it, so that's great. That's great. And if more say yes, let's just do it. Let's just do it. So this is to prove that the stuff I'm doing works. I'm an ordinary guy, okay? So I'm going to do it, and it's going to be tough. And all the guys who turn up to me, ordinary guys who all work in offices or whatever, sit around, drive around a lot, like work long hours, but still manage to get the fitness levels up to be able to do this. We shall see on the 19th of August. So that's my next challenge. I've laid it down. I've told everybody about it, so I've got to do it, right? So there you go. That's one of the things as well. Challenge yourself. But it's pointless to challenge yourself in private. If you challenge yourself in private, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it. I know, because I've done that. Challenge myself, and then it's like a few weeks in, and I'm like, fuck it, I'll just not bother. No one will ever know. And if no one knows, it doesn't matter, does it? Whereas if you challenge yourself and tell people, you're going to look like a bit of a div if you don't do it, aren't you? So I'm going to look like a right guy. Like, if I do it and fail, that's fine. Because I'll learn something, and then I'll want to go and do it again. But that's not the plan. I'm going to train for it. Even though I don't think I need to do that much training for it. I might be wrong. I might be very wrong about that. However, I'm not going to do anything massively different. I've been going out walking with weight on my back. So I'm going to carry on doing that. This is where that's come from. It's going to keep me doing that because I think that's helped me loads. It's helped my fitness loads. So I'm going to carry on do that. Carry on doing my strength training because I absolutely love that. And that's part of my life. That is part of my life. Right now, that is part of my life. It never used to be. My life used to be drinking and smoking and going to work and going out in London with brokers and getting shit-faced. Not anymore. So that has become an easy part of it. So then this 100k walk is going to prove that all this stuff works for me. It's worked for me. An average bloke from Newcastle who who was really unfit. Even, like I said, even 3 or 4 years ago, and then, like I said, 10 years ago when I did 2 20-mile walks back to back on different days, and my hips were fucked. I was in agony, and I was hobbling. So, this is going to prove that this works. It's going to prove that it's worked for the guys who are trained. So, if you want to know where I started, it's in the program just below here that I'm going to put in. That's exactly where I started. So, and it's not too late. It's not too late. So there's loads of things for you there. 10 years since I've had a McDonald's, almost to the day. Fantastic. Well proud of that. 10 years since I did a 40-mile walk across 2 days, which nearly killed me and left me hobbling. Russ, you're going to do it as well. Good lad. That's what I like to hear. Enjoy your wine tasting. And yeah, what is it? It's like, I think it's about 3 years since I started actually training, like proper strength training like I'm doing now. That was the very start of my journey. I hate that. That was the very start of this process for me anyway. And it's got me to being able to do all this sort of stuff. And the idea is to do it without it killing me. So, there we go. If you want to find out more, download the program. But there you go. Challenge on. Might change my name to Anne again. Except my arse isn't as big as hers. Am I allowed to say that? I don't know. She's still around, isn't she? Has she been on anything recently? She's probably on Loose Women or something like that. I don't know. I don't watch it. Anyway, I shall talk to you tomorrow.